One day when I was reading the newspaper, and I come to an article that mentioned about 45,000 people suffering from diabetes in Belize. I said, wow, this is terrible. And I started to pray, put the prayers into those people so that God could hear and heal them, you know. So I continued praying, and I asked God one day during my prayers that to give me the power to heal my people just by touching them. And so it continued like that until he started work in my mind, and I developed the vision that, you know, to put a clinic, but with alternative medicines. Continue doing the research. I identify a company named Splash International, and we register it as Splash International Belize Diagnostic and Alternative Medicine. We start 2 years back. Out to now, we are already attend about 3,000 people with this new approach to healthcare. This new approach to healthcare in Belize is not something new. It's in Europe, Canada, and the United States. It's becoming more popular. And we are the first one to introduce this alternative medicine by introducing also a diagnostic system we call electromagnetic analyzer. And so far we help a lot of people with health problems. Most of them come after them have several checkups in different places, and then come here to our next alternative. And they really get benefits from where we start to explain to them the Alka Boost. Splash International Diagnostic Center has been a success, not only to all of us, not only to we, but to all of us here in Belize. They're getting good results. What Splash lead me is to discover this alkaline and acid equilibrium in our body. We start to get more alternative medicine concerning for alkalizing your body as fast as possible. By natural ways is by eating fruits and vegetables, drink a lot of water, exercise, and sweat. Sweat is one way to detox your body. By doing more research, we also experiment with different alkaline products. After doing those testing in alkaline, my idea was to alkalinize the people as soon as possible. Because we noticed that for change their habit of eating is very hard. We live with a lifestyle of culture for more acid food. And this has caused a lot of problems, especially the diabetic persons. And doing more research, we come to this new product that will alkalinize not one person, but thousands of persons at the same time. And this is where we start with Alka Boost pH 9.5. This is where we are starting to market it. And I know we will help, we will change Belizeans for a better health, not only Belizean, but for the nation, who have better workers, less sickness in our society.
So we want to educate or teach people about the pH scale, because they may not have heard about it, they might not really understand or realize what pH is all about. pH means potential hydrogen, and it's a scale that goes from 1 to 14, with 7 being neutral, and anything below 7 and descending towards 1 being acidic, and the closer it gets to 1, of course, the more acidic it will be. Anything above 7 ascending to 14 will be alkaline, and of course, the closer to 14, then that product will also be more alkaline. And so we use a pH chart which also has color on it. And you can see here the oranges, the reds are more acidic, the yellows slightly acidic, and the light green is neutral, and darker green is slightly alkaline. And as it progresses to be more alkaline, it'll be light blue, dark blue, eventually to dark violet. And so this pH chart indicates clearly what is the pH of a particular liquid that you may be consuming. And we're now going to show you the different pHs of many different liquids, waters, and other beverages which are commonly consumed in the Belizean market. We're going to use a professional pH test kit which will essentially show what the pH is of each of these liquids. And that'll be done by placing 6 drops in each of the glasses in the liquids which are on the counter before us. So we'll place 6 drops. This is a very popular reverse osmosis water sold in the Belizean market today. You can see with 6 drops, it turns yellow, which means it's mildly acidic. It's just below, probably 6.5 pH, just below neutral pH. This is another well-known reverse osmosis water sold in the Belize market. And when we put 6 drops, you can see that turns mild green, which means that that's closer to neutral, probably right around 7 pH. This is another well-known popular water, reverse osmosis water sold in Belize from out west. When we put 6 drops in there, you see that that also changes color to a light green, which means it's close to neutral pH. Now we're going to test Alka Boost 9.5 Alkaline Antioxidant Mineral Water. You can see, wow, look how dark blue, almost violet that changes. And that's telling you that the pH of that water is almost 10. This is pipe water. You can see that's slightly green, slightly blue, which means that's somewhere around neutral pH. This is famous rehydration salts Pedialyte. That's quite acidic, has a pH somewhere of probably around 5 or 6. This is coconut water, which has sugar in it. Of course, that's also quite acidic. When you put sugar in a product, it turns your liquid extremely acidic. This is soursop juice, which is also sweetened. With 6 drops, again, it turns pinkish orange, telling you that it's very acidic. This is a popular sports drink. Again, you can see that turned to pinkish orange, which tells you it's quite acidic. This is club soda. This has been carbonated with carbon dioxide, and of course carbon dioxide is acid forming in the body. That turns light yellow, which tells it has a pH of around 6 or 6.5. This is a popular aerated carbonated soda. And there again you can see that turns quite dark, pinkish orange, telling you it's quite acidic. This is the same aerated beverage, but with artificial sweetener. You can see that also turns quite acidic. So there you have it. The only liquid on this counter which is extremely alkaline is Alka Boost 9.5 Alkaline Antioxidant Mineral Water. This will alkalize the body. This will bring the pH level of your body up to the desired level of 7.4. And so we've shown you the different acidities and alkalinities of the liquids which are normally consumed in the Belizean diet. Now, what you may be wondering is, how does this affect my body? And there is also a way to test the pH of the body's different liquids. And the way that is normally done is to test the urine. Most times it's best to test the urine when you first arise, because the body has been asleep for 8 hours and the body has metabolized through that whole process. How do we test the urine, you may ask? Well, there is something called pH Hadrian tape. You can see in my left hand, I'm holding this roll of tape which has also the pH chart at the bottom of it, which shows the different colors 5.5 to 8, which goes from slightly acidic up to very alkaline. And what I will do now, I will dip this tape in a glass of urine, my urine, which I just drawed a few minutes ago. And you can see the color in which the tape has turned. And when you put that against the chart on the pH tape, you can see that that color is slightly dark, and so my pH is somewhere around 7.4 or 7.6, meaning that my body is in alkaline state. Now, I've been drinking Alka Boost for about a month, and so that is essentially what accounts for the fact that my urine in the middle of the day is quite alkaline. You can test your urine in the same way, and the color will be from either yellow to dark bluish violet. And then you can also know where your body is on the acidity or alkalinity pH scale.
pH stands for potential hydrogen and is the standard way to measure whether something is acidic, neutral, or alkaline. We sure don't want to be drinking acid water, and yet that's what most of us drink. pH is a logarithmic scale, which means each number on the scale is 10 times different than its neighbor to either side. A simple scale will be written as 1 through 14, with 7 being the neutral point. Any number less than 7 represents acidic, and any number higher than 7 represents alkaline or basic. The reason this is so important is that the pH of any solution affects its chemistry and whether it will react or do nothing. Human blood has a very narrow range of pH from 7.35 to 7.45. That is the ideal range for all of the biochemical reactions that are required to support life when interacting with blood. It's how your body works. If your blood pH drops to 7.0, which is a neutral pH, that can lead to coma or even death. That's how critical blood pH is, and so the body has several mechanisms to protect it. Other parts of the body have slightly different pH depending on their function, but overall, almost all of our body needs to stay slightly alkaline, just to the right of neutral 7. The act of living produces acid within our tissues and cells, and it doesn't just magically disappear from our bodies. There are a multitude of reactions that happen in an attempt to clear our bodies of acid buildup, the chief one being breathing. Did you know that with every breath you expel acid from your body? It's called CO2, carbon dioxide, and it transfers from your blood to your lungs, and you breathe it out. Your kidneys also help regulate blood pH, and therefore body pH. The urine your kidneys create is manipulated for pH as your blood is filtered through the kidneys. Most people have slightly acid urine in the morning, pH 6.5 to 7.0, and this is a means to eliminate more acid from the body that has accumulated through the night. Eating alkaline foods, or should I say foods that cause alkaline reactions in the body, has been shown to help keep the body alkaline, but it's not nearly as effective as the breathing mechanism is. So now we get to the idea of alkaline water helping the pH balance of the body. The debate continues about bottled water versus tap water. I actually saw a headline a while back on the internet that said, "Miracle water. We hear about miracle water, but what actually is it?" I think they're referring to alkaline water.
Many processes within our bodies produce free radicals. Free radicals are entities that have lost an electron. They are positively charged. They come from the breakdown of foods, from the breakdown of toxins, and they enter our bloodstream. These free radicals are potentially harmful to cells. They will attach themselves, for example, to the lining cell of an artery. And when they do, they will produce an injury. That injury will create a response in the body trying to heal it. Platelets will come from the blood and try to plug that injury. And in the process of making a clot, in the process of then bringing in scavenger cells to repair the damage, the blood vessel is damaged. That's one of the theories of atherogenesis.
It's the disease that you fear most, cancer. And your ability to fight it lies in one of the biggest buzzwords in health, antioxidants. Today, we're fighting the war on cancer with prevention, antioxidant prevention. And I'm sharing my cancer-fighting antioxidant all-stars, the 3 most important ones you need to help you prevent cancer. Do you have enough? That's why our audience is wearing these different colored t-shirts.
You've seen them advertised everywhere.
A glass of Welch's purple grape juice has twice the natural antioxidant level.
This peptide cream is so rich in the absolute best antioxidants.
New Snapple Antioxidant Water. It helps protect your body.
Antioxidants are found in many fruits and vegetables, and they might just be your body's ultimate secret weapons against cancer. But what exactly are antioxidants, and why are they so good for you?
As I've discovered, most of you don't even have a clue.
Strokes and heart attacks related to dehydration. You've heard of people being out on the basketball court and you know they're sweating and they're working hard and they go off the court and they drop over dead. You heard of that? We've all heard of that. It's dehydration. They were probably drinking something, you know, of those special drinks that they, you know, that the people in called gators drink, you know. And when we don't have enough water, remember our blood needs 80% water. It's a flowing river through us. It builds cholesterol, which causes strokes and causes clogged arteries. And when we take the drugs for that, we get further dehydrated. And when there's insufficient water washing in and washing out, the membranes seal off. So further water is lost. And when the dehydration, the blood gets thicker. Why do people have bypass surgeries? Why do people have events of heart attacks? Because they're dehydrated. What a simple solution, guys. Your arteries then going in for bypass surgery and losing work for 6 months to a year. I mean, come on. Put your priorities in the right place and start thinking about what is it and where are we putting our priorities. When we think about, when my husband and I were introduced to this kind of water, we said, that's a no-brainer. We're spending all this money on supplements and all these things to get younger and to do the work that God's given us to do. It doesn't make sense for us not to have the best water on the planet. And so cholesterol is a production in a defense. It's God's way of protecting us from dehydration. Babies that are coming into the world because we now have a plethora of brain-injured children and children who can't function. I got an email today from a friend who said, oh, thanks so much for the work you're doing. And she said, it's almost every day that I get a mom coming up to me and they're all saying, what do we do for our kids? They all have brain issues. They all have ADD. They can't think. They can't concentrate. They can't behave. What do we do? And morning sickness is because of severe dehydration. Oh, I would give anything to have known this 30 years ago, 20 years ago when I had my children, because I had serious morning sickness. I mean, I was sick. And anybody that's a mom that knows that will remember those days. I didn't ever drink water. The thing that saved me is that I took a ton of pills for my pregnancy. And it took me a lot of water to get those pills down. And I'm sure that that's the only reason why my kids are as good as they are. Histamines rise during pregnancy, so you can it's absolutely a need for more water. And the amount of hydration that the fetus gets will determine its future in its structure and its function. More sodium than fluid, you will swell. The body compensates for this loss by producing particles that pull the water into the cells. This produces edema and swelling. And when this happens in the brain, there is severe, grave consequences. And folks, you and whoever gets this information from you, this information may save a life. Because when somebody has a car accident or an injury to the head, The number one thing that can cause more brain injury is the swelling. And if you cannot stop that swelling, you will have so much more brain injury and in many cases death. So remember that little piece here. There are little life nuggets here that can save many lives if you pick them up. Brain dehydration, histamines, and brain allergies. Whoever thought that allergies were related to dehydration? Oh my goodness, when I was 16, I started this thing called allergies, and so my parents took me down to the doctor and I got all these tests, those miserable tests, and then I had to for years get these crazy shots of these antigens, and I thought, these aren't doing anything, I still have allergies. And you know, I started moving into nutrition and that helped, changing my diet, and I think just getting more fruits and vegetables, getting the water from that, getting more minerals. And I eventually got rid of the allergies, but what I could have saved myself in money and time and lost things in life. I had headaches for probably 7 years every day of my life. It was allergies, it was toxicity. I never drank water. I didn't even drink regular acid water. I didn't drink anything because I was not educated. And we need to be educated and to educate others about how important brain allergies are a very key factor for people. In fact, a very high number of people have allergens that get into the system, and because they don't have enough water, they affect you in having anger, anxiety, behavior disorders, compulsions and ritualistic behaviors, confusion, concentration problems, depression, mood disorders, nervousness, schizophrenia, and speech disorders. A lot of times we don't even relate these. They are allergies. When the histamine is too high, your allergies are raging, and they are related to the brain. High histamines are, what's the thing on the market? Antihistamines. Because they know you've got to bring that histamine level down or you're going to be miserable. If you have a brain allergy or if you have a body allergy, it's an indication of dehydration. Chronic dehydration can cause histamine to become excessively active. Supplying the body with water, and again the right water, will cause a disappearance of the high levels of histamine. And water, now folks, this is science, this is studied. Science has told us that water, even regular water, will reduce histamine amounts. But think of how much exponentially you can raise the bar if you have microclustered ionic alkaline water, because it inhibits the histamines even more and their production and acts like an antihistamine. It's fantastic. Science has documented a lot of things for the brain, and histamines is one of the things they know. They've done the studies. Brain issues are linked to the histamine levels being way too high. Abnormal fears, aggressiveness, autism, bipolar, compulsive behavior, compulsivity, and rituals, crying easily, depression, hyperactivity, obsession about sex, overstimulation, racing brains, schizophrenia, suicide thoughts, and others. See how many of these are coming at us from different levels. Many of these things you've heard just a few minutes ago about dehydration. Now you're hearing it about histamines, that they have high histamine levels being caused by the dehydration. Signs of high histamines are caused by brain allergies, agitation, aggressive behavior, anxiety, autism, depression, fatigue, irritability, learning problems, moodiness, psychotic issues, slowed thought processes. And do you know that most common in the world of allergens is dairy and gluten? One of the things we do in our brain camp is we do a gluten-free, dairy-free diet, teach people how to do wonderful recipes without gluten and without dairy, because they are such high triggers for the brain to go into some of these things. Water is a natural antihistamine. Research shows that water is known to reduce histamines. One of the greatest researchers, and I recommend you Google him and look up his works because he has a lot of great books on water. He's done fabulous research and is responsible for giving us a lot of good information about what water does. Batman Helge is an MD, and he says that water inhibits histamine production as well as its excess release. And he's the one that found in his research that water by itself had the strong antihistamine properties. Allergies are in epidemic proportions. I used to think in my practice, every single person that came in, now granted they came in because they were sick and they had issues, I wasn't dealing with a healthy population, but that everybody had allergies. But research says that 2 in every 10 now suffer from allergies. And the young are developing nervous system problems, and their nervous systems are particularly vulnerable to any allergic or toxic overloads. Allergies lead to behavioral disorders such as hyperactivity, learning disabilities, etc. At least 1 in 10 child may react adversely to some common foods or additives. Dehydration produces more histamines. Histamines are produced exponentially when the body becomes more and more dehydrated. Your brain's health depends upon 3 main factors, and I want you to memorize these. Write them down. You got to drink water. You got to drink enough water, and you got to drink the right kind of water. So when we say drink water, right now we need to be saying you need to be drinking water that hydrates the body. And what is that water that hydrates the body of the brain? Microclustered ionized alkaline water. Water recommendations, and these are only guidelines because I find that I need sometimes a lot more water than this. The minimum intake for children, water with salt in it. It's not just water. So I noticed, I was on a weight loss diet recently, lost 10 pounds in a week, and water was a big part of it. And it was exciting. And I would take a teaspoon of salt and just, I love salt, so it wasn't hard, but it helped me. I mean, it was pushing it out. So it was kind of exciting. And I could see my body was needing more than a gallon a day to flush all the toxins that were moving. No, in the past, we're hooked on sodas. Yeah. And you know, did you know it? No. Nobody ever taught you that. Like, they taste good. And you know, I need a refreshment, and I just ran, or I just had a stressful day. Oh, give me a drink. Or what do we do for people to be kind of hospitable? We give them drinks, right? And we have a whole assortment of things that are all dehydrating and all acid. If you substitute milk, juice, sodas, tea, coffee, alcohol, you have to drink even more alkaline water. You have to drink 12 ounces of water just to replace, remember, that 10 ounces of coffee. It takes 32 ounces of alkaline water at 9.0 pH to neutralize 1 8-ounce soda. Is that amazing? And you can experiment with it and see. Start pouring in and see how many glasses of alkaline water it takes to bring that pH up to alkaline. It takes 32. Dehydration is caused by water not absorbing well. Water has to be microclustered, ionized, and alkaline to have the proper hydration to cells. And again, to the average person, it's like, I don't even know what dehydration is. Well, now you can give them this information and let them see. They're going to all identify. How many of you have identified with some of these symptoms we've talked about tonight? And so the average person is going to get it. They're going to know, oh, I am dehydrated. I do need water, and I have not been educated about water. The average person, even in health, folks, even your practitioners in the natural health, have not been educated about water because we haven't had the right kind of water readily available, but we do now. To really hydrate the system, you can drink equal to your weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you can drink 150 ounces, not 150 pounds, folks. Distilled, purified, bottled acid waters, they're all going to dehydrate and take water out of the body. So what do we drink? We drink only microclustered, ionized, alkaline water in the morning, 16 ounces of water. You want to drink all day long, every hour. Drink enough so that you get clear urine. One of the complaints is I got to run to the bathroom all day long. You know what I found out? that once your body gets rid of a lot of that toxins, you don't have to run so much anymore. So be blessed and thank God that you do have to run, because you're moving toxins when you have to go frequently, and it will pass. And if you live in high altitude, you got to drink more water. And if you eat any convenience food, you have to drink more water because it sucks up the water. And if you exercise, if you walk up a hill, if you walk up the stairs, if you go downstairs and do the laundry, whatever, you're exercising some, you're using up more water. If you have a lot of stress, stress causes more dehydration, and your metabolism is using up that water. Our next subject is about salt. Kind of water. It has to be microclustered, it has to be ionized, it has to be alkaline, and it may or you may not absorb enough water. I can't tell you how many people have said, and they've even gone into their doctor and said, I'm drinking a gallon a day and I'm still dehydrated. And folks are getting the message out there, and people are starting to hear and listen and say, well, I'm not hydrated. Oh, so I'll just go get any alkalizer, any ionizer. Folks, don't do that. I promise you that as a professional and as someone that can tell the difference, you've got a big difference. And when, you know, it's like you do pay for quality. You know that about your cars, you know that about your houses, you know that about your lives in other ways. Why don't we get it about our water? And hopefully you will get that and be able to help your friends get that. Water that is acid is dehydrating. And I almost feel like I have to go do some kind of penance to my clients who I've told them to drink RO water, to drink distilled water, because I was actually doing them not any good other than giving them water that didn't have all the chemicals in it. I was giving them positively charged acid water. And then we were having to give them products that had to move the pH, and they were having to do more and more raw foods because they couldn't get their pHs to stay alkaline, because they were drinking all the wrong kinds of waters. Water that is acid is dehydrating. One of the greatest things you can do with people is go up to them and say, hey, no, would you drink it coming out of the right, the falls? Yeah, you wouldn't probably have any problem at all with that. Water is not just water, it has a structure. And the structure is very different in water that comes out of polluted areas or tap water or RO water. Ionized water has an ability to change the structure of the water. And your water has its own brain. Even the purest water can still contain vibrational pollution. Even pure bottled water, even pure RO water has a vibrational pollution of acid. Water's the most programmable substance on the earth. It has a memory. It'll actually contain the energetic signatures of whatever is placed in it. And it stores and transfers this information within the body. This is why we can now replicate that water that is like the hexagonal water coming out of the high mountain areas in the Hunza area and in other areas that are mountain areas known for longevity. A couple things. We have structure of water. The water is a pentagonal structure. That's large, big clumps. And it's very hard to move them into the cell because the cell has very small permeable walls. And it's not shown in any way to improve life other than keeping you alive. It accelerates your aging, and it's high in acid waste that build up. The metabolic functions actually decrease, and there's little capacity for that water to store any energy. It has little energy to give. How many of you get energy from drinking tap water or RO water? Do you get energy from drinking microclustered, hexagonal, ionized water? Yes, amen, do you? A lot of energy, because it holds energy. Little penetration of the nutrients into the cells. I can take half of the vitamins and minerals I used to take. How many of you have the same thing now that I drink hydrated, microclustered water, because it gets into the cells? Nutrient absorption is more efficient, and there's an inefficient absorption or getting rid of waste with the pentagonal water. Now the hexagonal structure of water is small clumps. It's easy to get into the cell. They improve life significantly. They slow down the aging. There's no acid waste buildup. The metabolic functions increase. I've actually noticed that when I drink this water, I tend to have a low thyroid, but when I drink the water, my thyroid starts working a whole lot better. Huge capacity of this hexagonal water to store energy. And it needs those folks, those very strong, solid medical grade plates to be able to make that kind of water for a lifetime. If you don't have that, you cannot keep producing that year in and year out. It is highly energizing to the cells. It gives rapid penetration into the cells of nutrients. It helps their absorption, and it helps efficiently remove the waste. It contains powerful antioxidants. We call this microclustered hexagonal ionized water. And it has the negative hydrogen ion called the hydroxyl ion. Its water becomes alkaline, which helps our bodies move to the pH side of alkaline. It's super hydrating. You can run a very strong race. I can do a very strong workout where I'm jumping and moving and very much doing cardio, and in the middle of it drink a whole glass of water, and it doesn't stop me at all. Whereas I could never do that in the past. I had to do it before or after exercise. And the ionized water is 6 times more hydrating than conventional water. Microclustered hexagonal ionic water scavenges free radicals. It breaks down the cells. The free radicals steal the molecules from the healthy tissue. They create unstable or mutated cells. How do you think we get cancer, folks? Those are unhealthy mutated cells. And free radicals are responsible for all disease. People come up to me and say, well, does it help this? Does it help this? Does it help this? Is it a degenerative disease? Meaning, did it happen by an accident? Did they get a hit on the head and it happened one day, it was there, and the day before it wasn't there, and the next day it was there? That's not a degenerative disease. A degenerative disease comes on slowly. And almost all the problems that we have today, of which we have myriads of names for, are degenerative, and the water is what is responsible, number one, for moving those free radicals out of the body, which are causing those things. People know that calcium is very, very, very important. And the water actually helps you get your calcium and keep it in your cells. Hexagonal water will help you retain calcium. We start to lose calcium a lot under stress and under just life and exercise and just moving through the day. Mental and physical signs of calcium deficiency, they're rampant. Nervous tension, inability to relax, can't sleep at night, fatigue, not in proportion to the amount of work you do, restlessness, irritability, quick-tempered, insomnia, spastic colon, tooth decay, bone loss, mental depression, muscle spasms, PNS, PMS, menstrual cramps, and menopausal symptoms, all calcium deficiency. So you're losing calcium, you're either not getting enough, but when you start on the proper water, it starts to stay in your body and you actually produce a better use of your calcium. Free radicals, you can see 2 molecules here and the one stealing from the other because it's positively charged and it goes after the negative. It oxidizes and breaks down cells. The brain can't perform well when there's too many free radicals. Nearly all diseases, and we're talking about brain diseases as well as body diseases that are linked to free radicals, they are actually produced from childhood, and I think that what we're seeing today is children very young are producing these free radicals because they are having, at very young ages in our 20s and 30s, not children anymore, but they develop these years before because they're high free radical production very early in life. Aging increases the production of free radicals. And we cannot keep up with this excess. There's no way. How many of us are actually getting younger every year? We're trying, but it's a battle, isn't it? And some of us are gonna make it, but it's a constant battle to get past those free radicals because we're getting hit with them everywhere.
Mineral water. It is commonly known by modern science that the human body needs minerals to affect proper bodily metabolism. There are in fact some 20 plus minerals which the body needs on a daily basis in both macro and micro proportions. Minerals are the food for the enzymatic processes of the body. Minerals are vitally necessary for human bodily functions. When a person has severe diarrhea or severe vomiting, the body very rapidly loses hydration, minerals as a result of these two activities. Sweating also causes the body to rapidly become dehydrated. If the body is not rapidly rehydrated, death can ensue, especially with children who are more sensitive and vulnerable. Rehydration of the body after any of these events can only be successfully accomplished with liquids which have the appropriate mineral balance. The well-known rehydration liquid used for the purpose, of course, is Pedialyte. Other rehydration liquids include coconut water and Gatorade. Both of these, however, are acidic in nature because of the presence of sugar. Alka Boost is a water which is richly charged with a powerful electrolytic charge because of the blend of minerals which are placed in this water. Alka Boost is highly charged ionic water in which the molecular structure has been modified, thereby making its molecules much smaller. This water is commonly known as microclustered water. Once the water has been conditioned and refined, a special blend of minerals in electrolytic state are added, ensuring that the water, besides being alkaline and antioxidant, is also richly mineralized. These minerals include potassium bicarbonate, potassium citrate, potassium lactate, tripotassium phosphate, calcium, magnesium, selenium, zinc, and a chelate of 79 minerals from an ancient seabed floor. Modern science has also discovered that the majority of non-pathogenic illnesses is also to a large extent caused by dehydration. The brain especially is 80% water, and it has been scientifically established that most sickness and disease can be traced back to a dehydrated brain, as well as dehydrated cells of the body's organs. The only way to ensure that the body's rehydration needs are being satisfied is to eat foods which are rich in minerals or to drink liquids which are richly mineralized. Modern human consumption trends, however, have seen consumption of purified waters that have gone through a process of reverse osmosis, which in essence removes all the minerals from the water. This includes removing both the good and bad minerals. Purified reverse osmosis water, besides usually being slightly acidic, is essentially dead water. It provides no value to the body and does not provide the body's daily hydration needs. The simple explanation is that drinking reverse osmosis water does more harm than good to the body, as it is in essence dehydrating and demineralizing the body. The human body when born has two types of water, clustered water and bound water. Clustered water is the water which essentially transports foods, minerals, and oxygen to the cells of the body. The ratio between clustered water and bound water is normally 80 to 20%. As we age and also live a typical acidic lifestyle, that number slowly reverses itself. The end result simply means that the cells of the body become starved, as there is no longer sufficient clustered water in the body to effect complete movement into and out of the cells. Clustered water is also a smaller molecular structure than regular water, and as such can enter the cells more rapidly, thereby ensuring better cellular exchange of food, minerals, and oxygen, and the subsequent extraction of digested foods, minerals, and CO2. Alka Boost is also microclustered water, as its molecular structure has been altered to make it a smaller molecule. Because of its smaller molecular structure, Alka Boost is also able to flush the cells of toxic waste and acidic buildup. This ensures that the body will slowly be washed and cleansed and essentially detoxed of long-standing acidic waste products. Because of its smaller molecular structure, Alka Boost also emulsifies fats. In the process, it essentially changes the fat molecule by forming an emulsion and therefore allows for the breakdown of fatty deposits in the body. It will therefore reduce cholesterol and triglyceride levels in the body. This water is truly an amazing gift of life. It is actually very simple. Drinking Alka Boost 9.5 alkaline antioxidant mineral water is a secret to a longer, healthier life. Alkalizing is like finding the fountain of youth. For a healthier you, we invite you to change your water, change your life by drinking Alka Boost 9.5 alkaline antioxidant mineral water.